They say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes it's not thick enough to withstand a medical crisis. When I was diagnosed with stage 3 lymphoma, I learned exactly how thin those family bonds could become when money was involved. My name is Rachel Sullivan, and until 6 months ago, I thought I knew what family meant. I was wrong. $40,000? Mom's voice cracked as she read the treatment estimate. But doesn't your insurance cover this? We were sitting in my small apartment, the afternoon sun casting harsh shadows across the hospital paperwork spread over my coffee table. Dad was pacing by the window, while my older brother Mark and younger sister Katie sat awkwardly on my second-hand couch. Insurance covers part of it, I explained, trying to keep my voice steady despite the exhaustion that had become my constant companion. But there's a cap, and with the specialized treatment Dr. Harrison recommends. Can't you get a second opinion? KT interrupted, not looking up from her phone. Find something cheaper? I closed my eyes briefly, fighting back frustration. This is the second opinion, and the third. Every oncologist says the same thing. I need this specific treatment protocol. But $40,000. Dad stopped pacing to stare at me. Rachel, that's more than our retirement savings. I know it's a lot, I said quietly, but Dr. Harrison says without treatment, I have maybe 6 months. With it, there's an 85% chance of full recovery. Silence fell over the room. I looked at my family, the people who'd always claimed we were stronger together, who preached about family loyalty at every holiday gathering. Now they wouldn't meet my eyes. What about a loan? Mark suggested finally. The bank. Already tried. I cut him off. My credits shot from the medical bills last year. Last year. Mom's head snapped up. What medical bills last year? I hesitated. I'd never told them about the initial symptoms, the early tests, the treatments I tried before the official diagnosis. They'd been too busy with their own lives, Mom and Dad planning their dream vacation, Mark's wedding preparations, Katie's graduate school applications. Just some tests, I said vaguely. Nothing major. Another lie in a long string of them, but some secrets were better kept hidden, at least for now. Well, Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. Maybe you could start a GoFundMe. Or sell some things. That painting in your bedroom looks valuable. It's a print, Dad, I said tiredly. From Target. The point is, Mom jumped in, her voice taking on that familiar practical tone I'd grown to dread. We just can't help right now. The money we've saved. It's for emergencies. Mom, I couldn't keep the edge from my voice. I have cancer. How is that not an emergency? You know what she means, Katie said, finally looking up from her phone. They need that money for retirement, and I've got grad school tuition coming up. We can't just let me die. I finished for her. Because that's what you're saying. Without this treatment, I will die. Don't be dramatic, Mark sighed. There must be other options, government programs or something. I've explored every option, I said, pulling out the thick folder of applications and rejections I'd accumulated. I've talked to every charity, every organization. I even tried selling my eggs, but guess what? Cancer patients don't qualify. The room fell silent again, broken only by the softing of Katie's phone as she texted, probably complaining to her friends about her dying sister's inconvenient timing. Maybe, Mom started hesitantly, maybe you could move back home. Save on rent? My apartment costs $800 a month, I pointed out. That would take, 4 years to save enough? I don't have 4 years. Well, I don't know what you expect us to do. Dad exploded suddenly. We can't just magic up $40,000. We have our own lives, our own responsibilities. The words hung in the air like poison. I looked at each of them, Mom's carefully averted eyes, Dad's defensive posture, Mark's uncomfortable fidgeting, Katie's practiced indifference. This was my family, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. You know what's funny? I said finally, my voice eerily calm. Last year, you found $30,000 to pay for Mark's destination wedding. The year before that, $20,000 for Katie's emergency nose job. When it's something you want to pay for, the money mysteriously appears. That's different, Mom protested weakly. You're right, I stood up, gathering the paperwork with shaking hands. It is different. Those things were optional. This is my life. Rachel, Mark started, but I cut him off. No, I get it. Your wedding. Katie's nose, Mom and Dad's retirement. Those things matter more than whether I live or die. Message received. You're being unfair, Katie snapped. We're just trying to be practical. A laugh bubbled up in my throat, a bitter, broken sound that made them all flinch. Practical. Right. Well, practically speaking, I have an appointment with Dr. Harrison tomorrow morning. I suggest you all leave before you're late for whatever's more important than this. They filed out with mumbled excuses and awkward half-hugs, promises to brainstorm solutions that we all knew were empty. As the door closed behind them, I sank onto my couch, allowing myself a moment of weakness as tears finally fell. Then my phone buzzed, a reminder for my other appointment, the one they didn't know about, the one that would change everything. Because what my family didn't know, what no one knew, was that I'd been making secret hospital visits for years. Not for cancer treatments, but for something else entirely. Something that would make their abandonment today even more ironic. Dr. Harrison was more than my oncologist. She was the keeper of a secret that would shake my family to its core. And tomorrow, when they came to the hospital to discuss options, they'd finally learn the truth about those mysterious medical bills from last year. Sometimes the biggest betrayals come not from what we do, but from what we hide. And I'd been hiding something massive. The hospital waiting room was eerily quiet at 8 a.m. the next morning. My family sat in uncomfortable plastic chairs, summoned by Dr. Harrison's urgent request to discuss my treatment options. They looked annoyed at the early hour, all except Mom, who kept shooting me worried glances. They had no idea what was coming. Miss Sullivan. Dr. Harrison's assistant appeared in the doorway. We're ready for all of you. Instead of her usual consultation room, Dr. Harrison led us to a larger conference room. A projector was set up, and several other doctors were already seated at the table. I recognized Dr. Chen from nephrology and Dr. Patel from transplant services. What's all this? Dad demanded. We're just here to discuss Rachel's cancer treatment. Actually, Dr. Harrison said, closing the door firmly, we're here to discuss something much bigger. Rachel, would you like me to explain, or would you prefer to tell them? I looked at my family, their confused faces, their impatient postures. 5 years of secrets were about to explode. I'll start, I said quietly. Remember those medical bills I mentioned from last year? They weren't for cancer tests. They were for tissue typing and compatibility screening. Because I've been donating organs and tissue to save other people's lives. The silence was absolute. Then Katie laughed nervously. What? That's ridiculous. You can't just donate organs. Actually, she can and has. Dr. Chen stepped forward. Rachel has been part of our living donor program for 5 years. She started with bone marrow donation, then moved on to kidney donation and portions of her liver. That's impossible, Mark protested. You can't donate multiple organs. Dr. Patel clicked the projector on, displaying my medical records. Miss Sullivan has a rare genetic condition that makes her tissues uniquely compatible with multiple recipients. She's what we call a universal donor, but even more rare. Her regenerative capabilities are extraordinary. Each donation, Dr. Harrison continued, her body has recovered faster than any case we've ever seen. She's helped save 17 lives so far. 17? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Including your cousin Amy's baby, I said softly. Remember how she mysteriously recovered from that liver condition last year? That was my tissue donation. I asked the hospital to keep it anonymous. But why? Dad struggled to find words. Why keep it secret? Because I knew how you'd react, I replied. You'd try to stop me, or worse, try to profit from it. Just like you're doing now with my cancer. That's not fair, Katie protested. Isn't it? Dr. Harrison's voice was sharp. Rachel has given parts of herself to save strangers, never asking for recognition or compensation. Now she needs help and her own family is abandoning her. We're not? Mom started, but Dr. Harrison wasn't finished. Do you know what makes this situation even more ironic? She clicked to the next slide. Rachel's cancer is directly related to her donations. The multiple procedures, the strain on her immune system. She knew this was a risk, but she kept donating anyway. She chose to save others, knowing it might cost her own life. The room fell silent again as my family absorbed this. I watched their faces change as they realized the full implications. The $40,000 you won't help with? Dr. Harrison continued mercilessly. The hospital offered Rachel over $2 million to study her genetic condition. She turned it down because she didn't want to commercialize something that could help people. She chose to donate freely, anonymously, asking nothing in return. $2 million? Dad choked. Plus pharmaceutical companies offering ongoing compensation for exclusive rights to study her tissue, Dr. Patel added. She refused them all. Because that's not what this is about, I said quietly. This was never about money. It was about helping people who needed it, like family is supposed to do. Mom was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Mark stared at the floor, while Katie's phone sat forgotten in her lap. We've arranged this meeting, Dr. Harrison said, because the hospital board has made a decision. Given Rachel's extraordinary contributions to medical science and her service to others, we're offering to cover her cancer treatment in full. What? I hadn't known about this part. It's the least we can do, Dr. Chen smiled. You've helped advance our understanding of tissue compatibility and regeneration by years, saved countless lives through direct donation and the research your case has enabled. So you don't need our help after all, Katie said, sounding almost relieved. No, Dr. Harrison's voice could have frozen fire. She doesn't need your money, but she needed her family's support, something far more valuable that you all failed to provide. I watched my family squirm under her condemnation. Part of me wanted to feel satisfied, vindicated, but mostly I just felt tired. Rachel, Mom reached for my hand. We had no idea. That's the problem. I pulled away. You never asked. Never noticed the surgery scars, the recovery times. Never wondered why I missed holidays or why I was always tired. You were too busy with your own lives to see that I was getting pieces of myself away to help others. We can make it up to you, Dad said desperately. No, I stood up. You can't. Because this isn't about the money anymore. It's about finally seeing who you really are and who I am without you. The cancer treatment was successful. The hospital's care was extraordinary, though I suspected that had more to do with their interest in my unique biology than any real affection. My family tried to make amends. Mom brought casseroles I couldn't eat during chemo. Dad offered money I no longer needed. Mark and Katie suddenly had time to visit, though their conversation fell flat without shopping or social media to discuss. I recovered slowly, my miraculous regenerative abilities dampened by the cancer and treatment. But as my body healed, I realized something else was healing too, my understanding of what family really means. A year later, I sat in another hospital room, but this time I wasn't the patient. A young woman named Sophia lay in the bed, her new kidney, my kidney, giving her a second chance at life. Thank you, she whispered, squeezing my hand. My children will have their mother because of you. Her family surrounded her bed, their love palpable in the small room. They'd mortgaged their house trying to save her, spent every penny they had. That's what family does, they told me. You sacrifice for the ones you love. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom asking about Sunday dinner. I deleted it without reading it. Some people are born into families. Others create their own. My real family now includes the doctors who supported my decision to donate, the recipients who honor my gift by living fully, and the researchers working to understand my condition so others might benefit. Last week, Dr. Harrison showed me the results of their latest study. My tissue donations have led to breakthroughs in transplant medicine that could help thousands. Your gift keeps giving, she said. She's right, but not in the way she meant. The real gift wasn't my tissue or organs. It was learning that true family isn't about blood relations or obligation. It's about choice. About seeing someone in need and choosing to help, no matter the cost. My biological family still doesn't understand why I won't come home, why I continue to donate despite the risks. They see only the scars, the medical bills, the empty chair at holiday dinners. But I see something else. I see the faces of 17 people who lived because I chose to help. I see their families, whole and healing. I see a legacy of hope that's worth far more than money or social status or family obligation. Sometimes the biggest betrayals show us our greatest strengths. My family's rejection led me to discover who I really am, not just a universal donor, but a universal reminder that true family is built on actions, not blood. And sometimes that's worth more than all the support they failed to give.